What is up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker, coming at you live every Wednesday at 8 p.m., going over the market stats, news you know about, everything about buying, selling, or investing here in Northeastern Florida. And we're also doing a Q&A. So if you have any questions about what I cover here, whether it's going to be the market stats or the news stories, leave them in the comments below, and I'll get to them live, or I'll come back and answer the comments later. So here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. for you guys, and this is the whole point. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments below. So we're going to start off as we always do. We always start with the market stats, and then we go into the news stories, and then I try to do a national news story, bring it down to Florida, and then bring it down to more local. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the market stats and go from there. All right, so this is active inventory for all of Northeastern Florida, and every single year we have a seasonal pattern where inventory climbs and inventory goes down. Obviously, we've had inventory go down extremely low since 2021, 2022, and then skyrocket back up. But what we actually saw this year was something interesting, where the amount of active inventory started going down a lot earlier in the season than we typically see. So you can see active inventory going down in October here, November here. Active inventory starts going down, October here, and you can keep following it out through. Well, that's COVID. That doesn't necessarily count. But then October here, right? So we saw that start in May, which was really interesting, and that's going to follow into our next news story here. And this is all for the entire Northeastern Florida area in terms of active inventory. So we're actually down from this point last year, 6.6%, which is not a tremendous amount. I don't think we're going to get back in this range anytime soon, but what we're going to cover here later in the show in terms of news stories, we're going to tie all this in together, okay? So any questions about any of that, let me know. This is a moving target, right? And we're not trying to make any predictions, but what we can do is look at the history and see what the history could possibly tell us what's going to happen in the next couple months. So the one thing that I wanted to bring up is this right here. So we're going to go kind of national. And if you guys don't use Redfin is one of my favorite sites because it has a lot of good data as well. So they predict major mortgage rate movement. The real estate technology company sees movement in the housing market amid data that is proving difficult to track. So I'm sure you heard me talk about it. I'm sure you've heard other people talk about mortgage rates going up and down. But the biggest thing is what's going on with the new Fed chair, and then the economic data. And then the hardest thing is major labor statistics will be delayed in December 2025 due to lingering effects from the government shutdown. And then this also ties into what we were talking about. So home delistings increased 28% in September, helping to stabilize overall home prices. So just what we showed you before, really we saw an earlier active inventory. So I'm just going to take it off the market, maybe rent it, or just maybe do some upgrades to it. They're taking it off the market, and typically 1 in 5 homes go back on the market once they come off. So that's happening across the nation. It's also happening here. But they said that in September they had the largest rate in a long time, which is 28%. And that we need to talk about, which this all ties into my next point here, is the fluctuation